as well as in business. So, welcome, everybody to this month's CEO Life Membership Club. Today's topic is all about negotiating like a boss. And this really is going to teach you about the art of sales, not just in your business, but in your personal life. So, make sure that you take notes. And then when the session is over, make sure that you apply it into your life. So, I always like to start off with a quote. And so, today's quote is everything is negotiable, whether or not the negotiation is easy is another thing. So we want to make sure that we keep in our minds that everything is negotiable. And sometimes you may have to just walk away from negotiation because you're not able to get what it is that you want. So today we have three things that we're going to accomplish. Number one, we're going to talk about the psychology of sales. Number two, we're going to re-engineer your mind to become a master negotiator. There are tools and there are steps to become a master negotiator. And then number three, we're going to do a video. I'm going to show you guys a video on role playing the situation when you get your price is too high comment from a potential ideal client. So, power move number one is let's discuss the psychology of sales because whether you're doing strategy, branding, marketing, it's always important to understand what is the psychology behind it because you have the psychology and then you also have the strategy, the implementation part. So, sales psychology is simply a process that involves considering the psyche of your ideal client to sell your product or services. Oftentimes, people go directly into the benefits or they go directly into what their product or service is going to accomplish for their ideal client. But you always have to make sure that you start with the psyche because that is the emotional side. With any successful sales, you're going to have the psyche, which is the emotional part, plus the logic. So you have to make sure that you combine the two. And most times an entrepreneur, they're going to lean towards one or the other. They're going to be either very analytical and logical, or they're going to be very emotional. And so their sales strategy is going to be based on the area of strength that they have. But in order to be successful, we have to combine both of them, the emotional side of it, as well as the logical side. So instead of convincing customers they need your product or service, you find a way to market to their current needs and wants. So much of the stuff that we did in branding was focusing on identifying the needs and wants of your customer so that in all of your marketing and all of your brand or your sales messaging that you're speaking directly to their needs and want so that they can self-select and say, yes, you're talking directly to me and I want to utilize your product or service. And so a common mistake in marketing and sales is focusing on the price versus focusing on the value. And so as we go through our class on today, you're going to see why you don't want to get stuck in justifying your price. You want to make sure that you are showing the extreme value so your price is automatically justified. So emotion versus logic in sales. There are different ways that individuals buy products. Some of your ideal clients, they're going to buy impulsively, and that's the emotional side. And then they'll rationalize the buy later. And so that's why a lot of times you may have buyer's remorse because it's an emotional decision that they made, and now the logic side is kicking in. So what you want to do in your marketing and your sales messaging is you want to make sure that you address both the emotional side as well as the logical side so that they're making a decision that is sound and is a decision that they know is going to satisfy their needs and their wants. So in other cases, the person uses logic and reasons over emotion when purchasing a new product. And when someone is using logic and reason, they have a longer sales process because they have to do their research. They have to vet you. They have to compare you with other vendors, and they have to understand why it's a logical choice to select you. In your sales messaging, you want to use both emotion and logic to appeal to both types of buyers because you don't know what type of buyer is on the other end of the screen, or you don't know what type of buyer when you meet someone. So if you're appealing to both the emotional as well as the logical side, regardless of what type of buyer they are, your marketing and sales and branding messaging is going to relate to them. So you have to understand the values of your ideal client and show how your product or service aligns with those values. And so going back to our branding, what do we say? What is the needs? What is the wants? What do they value? What type of results? So all of that, if you've done all of that work and you've laid that foundation, now when we get into sales, it's very easy for you to be able to translate it. But what happens is a lot of CEOs, they want to make the sale. And so they go immediately into the sale mode and they have not done their proper research and they're not communicating in a way that's going to resonate with their client. And that's half the battle of negotiating. So y'all know that I like to teach step by step by step. So these are 6 laws of sales that you need to ensure that you have in every type of marketing message and sales messaging that you put out there, as well as whether it's in a conversation, whether it's a social media post, whatever it is, you need to make sure